What is up, my people? Welcome. We are going to go through how to get a third person character to sit and stand in Unreal Engine. So there's a bit of a little demo reel in this YouTube video of a guy walking around, sits on a chair. When the user presses a button, he stands back up, and it goes about his merry way. So that's exactly what we're looking to implement today. Seems really simple, and it can be, but it also can be a little bit complicated. I was reading through the comments on this video, and then also having went and implemented this functionality myself. I realized this, bless Metal Designs for giving us the project code, but there isn't really a good tutorial that tells us exactly all the steps that need to happen and how to do it the right way to implement it. So I thought, why not me? I'll show you how to do it. Cool. So that's what we're going to cover. I'm just going to show you too that I do in fact have this working in my project, so you know what you're getting into. And you don't implement something that you don't want. But I've got the Epic Kid here animated. He can move around and open various objects and interact with the world. Specifically, what you are interested in, though, is being able to sit and stand. So let's go in here and sit on a chair, stand back up, and I'm just, I'm hitting an interaction button. The other thing I implemented is you'll notice that when there's something that he can interact with in the level, there's this little interaction widget that pops up in the top right corner, lets you know that you can interact with it, and then it changes when you are interacting with something. So yeah, that's the core functionality. It's working. I've done a few other things like set up an inventory system. His backpack fires open on a key press. You can eat this apple and have his health go up 5 points, and look at that. So yeah, it's working pretty good. I just wanted to kind of highlight a few things to let you know that yeah, I have done it in my own little level here, and it's working well. So we can get you there, no problem. Cool. So I'll get rid of that. And yeah, I guess we'll get right into it. The first thing that you want to do is navigate to this YouTube video. So if you didn't find me through this video, this isn't my channel. If you found me another way, then you need to navigate to Metal Design, look for this YouTube video, and then open up the project description and go to this download project link. It should take you to, what is this, Mega, and you can download the chair and stamina RAR file. It's almost 800 megs, so it'll take a couple minutes. I've already downloaded it, so go ahead and do that, and I'll wait for you to catch up. I'll just tell you while you're downloading that, I was trying to avoid having to go through all of the steps of setting up, getting a character, setting it up within the project, and then doing the sit and stand. But the more I thought about it, I think we have to show the entire workflow from beginning to end. People are going to try and do different things with different characters, so I need to show the steps from beginning to end so that there aren't any gaps. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to implement. You might be able to implement the sit and stand on the mannequin, but then how do you get it on the character that you want? And then the other thing I thought about is like, okay, if we're going to do that workflow, there's a couple of different ways to get different types of characters. There's Mixamo characters, and there's the Unreal skeleton characters, and there's various other ones, but those are the two that I'm most familiar with, and the workflows are very different. So that's the other thing we're going to do. We're going to do an Unreal-based skeleton and get it working to sit and stand, and we'll do the workflow for the Mixamo character. We'll do the Unreal characters first. It's the easiest, and then we'll do the Mixamo second. So we can go ahead. You've probably got the file now. You can go ahead and move that. The file is a full project, so you can just move it into the wherever you want the project to show up. I just put it right in my Unreal Projects folder. Right click on it. I use 7-zip for RAR files, and then I'm just going to extract here. That will extract, and you should have a new chair plus stamina project. So the one thing that I'll ask that you should do for best practice is rename that file. Get rid of the special characters, the plus sign, and the spaces. Oh, and I've already got the project, so I'll just go ahead and delete mine. And you can see what I've done. I've just renamed it chair, no spaces, stamina, and then just capitalize the first letter of every word. That's a pretty, at least it's an old school way of naming variables and naming things within a coding environment. It's best practice. You'll find there's different places in Unreal that won't let you have spaces and special characters, so don't do it on your folders and things either. It'll save you running into problems where certain syntax isn't allowed. Just follow this in every name state and you should be fine. Okay, so with that little thing out of the way, let's go ahead and open the project. So while that's opening up, I'll just go back to the Mixamo and the Unreal character workflows and just explain the difference there, why the workflow is a little bit different. What it boils down to is there's different skeletons. The Unreal base skeleton has what's called a root bone, and I think it sits between the 2 feet. I haven't done enough in the animation space to be 100% sure. Anyway, say it got this root bone, and the Mixamo character doesn't, and it's the 2 skeletons don't line up 100%. And so because of that, the animations for a character to sit and stand have to be implemented differently. Otherwise, the characters don't look just right. I tried numerous ways to sort of make them line up, but and I read a ton. There isn't a great way. There's some hacky ways to do it, which I'll probably get into a little bit. But that's the main thing. So that's why we have 2 workflows, one for Mixamo and one for Unreal-based characters. Okay, project is open. When you first open this up, I'm going to get you to do a few things to clean it up. We are going to delete the third-person character, and we are going to delete the start space. Yours probably looks a little bit different. I've obviously been in this project already, and so I've deleted the chair out. I'll add that chair back in just for consistency for you. And we will navigate to the third-person BP in the bottom left here. Under animations, under blueprints, we're going to look for this chair BP. Yours is going to actually look like a chair. I'll add mine back in. Where's here? We can add a mesh. Just ignore me doing this for a quick second. Where is static mesh? Static mesh. Boom. Okay. There, that's back in. And I will find your chair. There you go. Okay, yours probably looks something more like that. And here, let's demo the functionality. You can walk over to your chair in the level, and when you walk up to the chair, you can hit the E key, and the guy sits down. So that's the core functionality. We're done. It's working. No, I'm kidding. So that's what's working, or that's how the project's constructed. Hit the E key, your character will sit down. Now I'll go into why did I delete the chair out of it. So let's get rid of the chair. Compile, save. The reason being is that this is much more flexible the way that it is. If I take the chair out, this is an invisible asset, and I can put this anywhere in the level. So imagine that I put it there. Now, when my character starts, I can go and walk over to that and have him sit on the ledge. So let's do that. Oh, and I'll also explain, I told you to delete the third-person character and the player start. The reason being is, while we're navigating around this, we don't want to have to start at the beginning of the level every time. I want to start here because it saves me time. So that's why I did that. Okay, so I'm going to go over here to where he sits. If I hit E, look, now he can sit there. If we had the chair in there, he'd have to sit on the chair. So much more versatile there. I think that'll give you way more flexibility. If you're just looking for different spots to have the character sit, like, you know, maybe on one particular bench that's obvious, or, you know, one cliffside, or maybe you're doing an animation that you want to just make him sit there. Who knows? But I just think this is much more flexible. That being said, you may have the scenario where you have a full auditorium and you have hundreds of chairs. Well, you don't want to take this asset and then plunk it perfectly on every single chair. So that's where it makes sense to have the static mesh in the blueprint. And what I would do in that case is I would actually just create child blueprint class, and then I would, the same way that you saw me do just a couple minutes ago, stick the chair back in, and then I would use the child blueprint in the same way that we would use this blueprint and just drag it into the level with the chair, and that's how you could create your auditorium. So I hope that's clear. Anyways, I'll go through the rest of sort of what's driving the code. So we downloaded this project from that YouTube site. It allows the mannequin to sit and stand, but how is that working? What's different? What's different between this and the standard third-party character? Well, I'll show you. So the first thing is the chair blueprint. I covered a little bit about it there in the viewport. You've got this collision mesh standard. You've got this arrow. All that arrow is saying is whatever way the arrow is facing. What is it on my camera? Whoop, there it is. Whatever way the arrow is facing, that's where the character is going to turn and face and then sit down. So you'll notice in the animation when the character walks up to the chair, it has him turning around and then seating himself, not just like doing something wonky and just sitting down. So that's what the arrow is about. Then obviously you saw the mesh. We deleted that. You get why that's there. That's the object that he would be sitting on if you did have a mesh in there. And then the last piece is this blueprint coding in the back in the event graph. And it's just, this is really simple. Any of these red nodes are executable nodes that when an event happens, they're called event nodes. When an event in the game happens, then trigger this branch or line of code. So we've actually got two branches here. These are not connected. They're separate branches. So this first one is on begin overlap. And what that means is when two actors within your project are overlapping, then fire off these events. So this is on begin overlap. So one actor, your third person character and the chair, second actor, when they get close and their mesh or their collision is overlapping, this is the collision box. So when your third party character enters this mesh, then fire off this overlap. And all this is saying is set whether or not the character can sit or can't sit. And I believe the reason, I can't remember, it's been a while since I looked at this, but you know, it's going to be something along the lines of, if I'm already sitting, then I don't want to have the character try and sit again, because then you'd get this wonky animation of a guy sitting and then trying to sit again. Like, what the hell is that? So that's why they're setting this variable of either the person can or can't sit, depending on certain scenarios. And you could use that in the future for other things, like if a character's talking to somebody else, then you know, in that moment you can't sit. Or if someone else is already sitting there, then you would also flag the variable that he can't sit because someone else is sitting there. Stuff like that you may want to play around with in the future. Okay, so that's the chair blueprint. The next piece is this new interface. This is the easiest because we're not going to touch this, but it's also probably the hardest to understand. There's this, when you open it up, there's nothing in there except the sit BI. And that's a function, and we'll get into that as I kind of go through all of the different blueprints. But really all that's doing is allowing this new interface allows that sit BI functionality to be accessed from multiple blueprints. I think that's right. That's all that is. Then there's the stamina bar blueprint. We're not going to cover, I'll tell you straight up, we're not going to cover the stamina bar. There's too much to do with the sit and stand functionality and dealing with the characters. I'm not going to also tackle the stamina bar. If there's enough interest in this, enough following or whatnot, then I can look into the stamina bar and show you how that's done. But for now, we'll reference it. We'll move it along in the project. We'll keep it in the code so that you could use it in the future. But I'm not going to demo it, and we're not going to touch it today. Next piece is this third person character. So just look at the picture. That is just clicking on the viewport here, that is your dude. So what's different about him? If you just opened the standard third person sample file from Unreal, when you opened your project, 90% of this would be here. All this stuff at the top would be there. The new stuff is down here. It starts around this custom event. The custom event deals all with the stamina, so we're not gonna go into that at all, really. I Again, we're going to leave it in there for consistency and in case you want to use it in the future, or but perhaps there's more tutorials. We could make a series, but we're not going to touch that today. And then these other two are really what's driving the sit and stand up. So you can see he's commented out sit and stand up. And look at this. If you remember at the beginning when I showed you how the functionality is working, if you press the E key, he sits. If you press the E key, he stands up. Well, look, your event's firing off when the E key is pressed. So when the E key is pressed, do all this code. This is the sit side, and then this is when the E key is pressed, stand up. So we'll change that maybe to a joystick or something later on, or multiple things. But really, the code here, I won't get into it too much, but really what it's doing is doing a bit of setup, kind of same as I was telling you before. Is he already in the chair? Is he leaving? And then depending on that variable, all this green stuff is determining where your character is in the world, and then getting him to move in the right ways. So this is the whole, hey, I'm in the overlap space. I am trying to sit. Am I facing the right direction? Do that, and then execute on the sit and stand animation. So that's what all that is. And then I think at the very end, see this says play animation montage. That's the actual playing the animation. And then at the very end of this, it's got a function to return stamina. We'll probably get rid of this or comment it out because we're not dealing with the stamina in our project. And just because I saw it here, you'll notice the sit BI is referenced. So that goes back to that new interface that we talked about. This is firing off on that sit BI functionality that was created. And then there's a similar branch of code for standing up. Okay, so that's the big changes there. So changes in the chair blueprint, this new interface, and then this third person character. And then there's actually not much left that is different. If we go over to the content section and in Mannequin, under animations, there's this third person animation blueprint. This is the other piece that is different in the blueprints. So first things first, if you don't have all of these tabs open, and sometimes you don't depending on the project, it's actually over on the left here. You can see the similar named items. You can just double click on the event graph or the default, and the corresponding item will fire open here, your folder. So that's that. So there's a few things that are different here. Look again, this mysterious, what is it? Event sit BI. This is referenced. So again, you can see across different blueprints, the same function is being referenced. That's that whole tie into that event. Is it event blueprint? The heck was it called? That was the tie-in to this interface blueprint, right? So that's what's going on there. What else do we have in here? In this animation graph, in default, so you can either double click on this or you could have just clicked on default there. In there, you have basically, I think, what's driving the blend space for a character. So this is an animation blueprint. When a character moves from idle to run, what happens? See? When a character moves from jumping to jump finished, sort of what happens and what our animations fire off and at what speeds and yada, yada, yada. So this is all default in your standard third-person mannequin. But you'll see what's new is sit, right? So we obviously need a blend space of moving a character from standing to sitting or sitting to standing. And so that's what this little guy is doing. That's the big changes. The other thing is we'll be going into the character skeletons. So I'm just at the top right here. Skeleton and the retargeting manager, we'll cover that a little bit later. But this is basically allows us to move animations from one skeleton to another. So in our project, I think we're going to end up with 3 or 4 different skeletons. We're going to have the default Unreal skeleton. We're going to have the Mixamo skeleton. We're going to have the base skeleton for the Unreal characters that we get out of the marketplace, and then we might have a 4th skeleton depending on how we migrate the sit and stand animation. So we'll have 3 or 4 skeletons. So anyways, those will become important. Then you've got your mesh for your object. You've got your animations, and this, if you go navigate down to the bottom right, this is where if you double click on any of these animations, you can see they'll fire off. Specifically, voila! I think you saw when I was going through the blueprints earlier that, what was this called? The sit to stand montage. That's what this is. So the changes that were made here is what's allowing the guy to stand and sit, and this montage is what's firing off. And then last but not least, you have the physics. We're not going to touch anything in here, but it's good to know this is how the base physics of your character work. So that's the changes that were done within that space. A lot, right? Most of this we're just going to copy over, but I think it's important to kind of understand what's going on. We can't just copy and paste this crap over without having at least a base understanding of what's going on. And then the last piece that's new is under the third person BP in animations. We've got 5 different animations. These are the same ones that I was clicking on within the animation blueprint, but if we did double click on them, you'll see it takes us back there. So there's a tie between those. So these 3 green ones are the animations, the blue ones are the montages of basically stringing those animations together. So that's it. That's what's in this project. That's what we're going to take out of this project and put into our own guy. Cool, right? Let's do it. I'm going to take a little break. I am back. Okay, let's get at this thing. So for the next part here, that was all the history. We covered that off. You now understand what's different in the project. What are we going to implement? Let's get into doing it. So a couple of housekeeping items here, super quick. I wanted to say, we're using the assets from this channel. Let's be good citizens. Let's be good members of the Unreal and YouTube community. Go and give Metal Design a like. Give them a subscribe. We are using their assets. We're going to put them into our projects. We're spending time with it. It's the least we can do. Same thing. We're going to go to another channel here. So grab the name of this YouTube channel, TC Made, and we're going to get some assets from this guy too. We don't need their videos. They're not covering the same content, but be a good citizen, like and subscribe to these guys. At least like it even if you don't subscribe, and then do me a solid. Same thing for this guy. I'm putting in some time and effort for you. Give me a little back by liking and subscribing, especially if you like the content and you're using it. Okay, so with that out of the way, I did want to bring you to this channel. I talked a little bit about the difference between the Unreal standard skeleton and the Mixamo skeleton. What this file is about. This guy doesn't own this file either. Somebody else created it and he just found it and kind of, this is where I got some of the information that I'm sharing with you guys. But anyways, this file, what it is it's an FBX. It's the Mixamo skeleton. No, sorry, other way around. It's the Unreal skeleton without the root bone. So it works really well with the Mixamo animations, and what we're going to use it for is basically creating a pipeline that you can use over and over again to take the animations out of Mixamo, and there's hundreds of them, and put them into your Unreal skeleton. So you can just have this massive free library of animations from Mixamo that you can use on their characters, but you can also use on any Unreal skeleton as well. Really cool. So click on this file. Under animations, there is an FBX here. Download this. Double click on it, download, and you'll get that FBX file. I already have it. We're going to cover it later when we do the Mixamo flow, but I wanted to cover off the, hey, be nice to these YouTubers that are helping us out, and then get this file while you're at it. This was a helpful video for me, so if you do want more information on retargeting and where this Mixamo character, then go ahead and give it a watch too. And then there's some other useful files if you are interested in the whole Mixamo workflow and whatnot. Some of the stuff that we're not going to cover. There's some useful tools here. Specifically, I grabbed the skeleton retargeting I just found that trying to get the skeletons to play nicely between Mixamo and Unreal, just it wasn't worth it for me. There's too many complications. You can get it done. Like I've got some Mixamo characters working, and it works better for some. And this is getting the Unreal animations onto a Mixamo character. It works better for some Mixamo characters, but it's clunky. It doesn't work. It's a lot of extra headache and work for not much, to be honest. Unless you're doing some more advanced animation, and then if you're doing that, really you should learn Blender and you should learn rooting and things like that. So I'm against this for the most part. So really just grab the mannequin and let's move on. Okay. Yeah, that's that. Okay, so let's start on the Unreal character flow. What we're going to do is we're going to go to Unreal, and we're going to fire open another project. You may have to close some windows down. I have 128 megs of RAM running on this rig, so I can probably open 100 projects, maybe not that many, but long story short, if you need to close some things down, then go ahead and do that. Okay, so in games, just create a new one, new project. Third person is what we're going to use. You match all the settings the same. Sure, have the starter content, why not? And then create a new project. This we'll call sit stand demo. Sit stand demo. Cam, why are we creating another project? Well, here's what I'm thinking is you want to take the what is it? What the hell's the name of the project? Something stamina. You want to take the chair stamina content and put it into whatever project you're going to work in. So I kind of want to show you that workflow. I don't want you to do that now. I want you to create a new project just so that we can keep things clean, we can keep some things consistent, and you can see that you can get it working. And then if you run into bugs, you know that that's in your own project or whatnot. And you know, if there is something that you run into, if you follow me step by step, maybe I can help you. So that's why I want to use a clean project. So the idea is if we do this, we don't want to build it within the chair and stamina project because that's not what you're going to do. What I teach you here is you're actually going to take it and then you're going to go and put it into whatever project you're going to play with. So that's what I'm trying to replicate is we have this chair stamina separate project that we took. How do we get that, what we need into our new final project? So that's why I said create this sit stand demo. With me, follow along, and we'll do that. Okay, so this is our new target project. This is going to be the one that we're going to make our end beautiful state. So all we want to do is create it for now. We'll close it, and then we want to open up the Epic Games launcher. If you're new, the biggest tip I can give you is every month, go to the marketplace, go to free for the month, and free for the month. Something's not working. Free. Oh, you know what? I'm clicking. Free for the month and just get everything. Get everything. There's months in the past. I mean, this is only my first month, but I look at some of the assets that were available in October, and I wish I had them. So just once a month, make sure you go in there and get all this stuff. You don't actually have to download it on your computer. You can just go and like purchase it. You get it for free, and then it's in your library forever. Hoard those, man, because nothing's free. So it's cool. I've seen some projects that are $120 regularly, and then they come in for free a month, and then they're back to $120 again. So and some really cool content that you can use. So there's a little free noob tip. Do that every month. Okay. What are we here for? We are here for the 3D people. So if you just go back to Marketplace, go in the search here, scanned 3D people pack. This is what we want. So we're going to get what? 6, can I count? 9, including the kid, 10. You get these 10 actors. They're all built on the Unreal skeleton. So this is the easy workflow, and this is what we're going to do first. We'll pick one of these characters. We'll retarget the animations on top of the base skeleton, and then we'll get these peeps to sit and stand in our level. So what we want to do is we want to, if you haven't purchased it yet, go and do that. And like I said, it'll be free. And then add it to your project, like I just did. So you want to show all projects because I think this was built up until 4.2.5 and it hasn't been updated. So you need to, because we're working in 4.2.6, you need to make sure that it shows all projects. You need to find the project that we just created, sit stand demo, and then at the bottom it's going to give you this little error. All you got to do is just pick the most recent version. So for us 4.2.5 is closest to 4.2.6, so just pick that and it'll work fine. It's just they haven't updated it to 4.2.6. I've done that a bunch with older projects, so don't worry, it'll be just fine. Okay, so that's going to add all these dudes to our sit stand demo project, which is cool. The other thing I'll show you just quickly while we're in here is we are going to work with a bunch of Mixamo assets. There's a whole bunch of them free here too. They're free on their website, so it's not a big deal. The only advantage of this one is you can get 15 characters all at once. So with Mixamo website, you have to go in and you have to individually target each character, download them, bring them in. So this is kind of cool, is you can get 15 at once. I think there's like 40 or 50 characters on the website, so this isn't all of them. It's only 15 or so, but it's there. We're not going to do it this way because I think we want to go and pick one specific character. I want to show you the website, but you know, if you were looking for some characters, you can come back here and get all these free ones and then follow the workflow that I'm showing you and get them to do whatever it is that you want them to do. Cool. So that's in there. Let's close. I'm just making sure we don't need anything else. We do not. Close that. And now our dudes should be showing up in our sit and stand demo. They would be over here on the left under scan 3D people pack. Look, there they are. 3D people pack. 3D people pack. I don't know why that's fun to say. Okay. Man, I need some water. I'm going to be right back. Okay, we are back. What was I doing? 3D people back. Yeah, oh yeah. Okay, so we brought these assets in. So you know me, I'm going to give you a bunch of context. Here's actually another pro tip. I'll just give this to you if you're not aware of it, because I just learned this the other day. If you find somebody talks too much on YouTube, you like their content, but they're going too slow, and you know, skipping around in their video isn't working for you, you can, in settings, go into playback speed and change the speed. So there's some people that go too fast, and I'll slow them down, and there's some guys that go too slow, and I just want to get the information. So if I'm too slow for you, come down here and tune me up, and I'll talk like a chipmunk, and you'll get your information that much faster. All the tips. Okay, cool. So anyways, where I was going with that is I like to give context. I hate when people jump around and then you spend hours trying to find out something simple. So unfortunately, I'm going to give you all the information. Hopefully I don't miss anything. And you know what? I will drive some people crazy because you know, you're probably just saying, I could have done this in 5 minutes, and you talked for 20 minutes already. Well, too bad. Whatever, it's free. Okay, scan 3 people pack. Yeah, so how does this work? So you've got these 9 or 10 characters I told you about. There's a mobile asset and there's a UE4. Honestly, I don't know what the difference is. I haven't spent enough time with them. I only can assume that probably the mesh for the UE4 is dialed down a ton. And is easier to run, less intensive to run, because it's probably less detailed. So the ones that we're going to pick, I'm just going to assume that it's the second one here, and we'll use those. I've already done this, and it works, so we will stick with that method. So you got all these characters at the bottom. You got some scenes. Who cares about those? Play with those if you want. You've got some base animations of some of these people. All of the animations work for all of the characters because they're all based off the same skeleton. And the way that they've done this is in the character master here. They've got the mannequin, and the skeleton. And all of the meshes are referring back to these dudes. So that actually makes it easier. So when we make changes to this section, it should apply back to all of the characters for the most part. I talked about we're probably going to end up with 3 or 4 skeletons by the end of this. So naming is super important so that we stay organized and we're not confused. So I don't want to mix this up with the other Unreal skeletons, so we're going to rename these 3 assets here quickly. I'm going to follow their naming convention, and you just see this RP. I don't know what the RP stands for, but we'll just use that. Like I said, keep things consistent. We're not starting from scratch here, so we'll repurpose what other people are already doing. So we will just put an RP. Whoops. Hey, see that? Special character. You can't have them. Get rid of them. You'll put an RP underscore at the beginning of each of these 3 objects. That's all that we need to do. Rename. RP. Rename. RP. Boom. Now when we reference these guys easier, it'll be super clear right off the bat that these RPs are tied to this scanned 3D people pack. Cool. What do we need to do? We need to set this dude up so that we can target him. So this is where we're now in the spot where we've got the skeletons, we've got our dudes, but there's no animations. We want to get the sit and stand animations on these guys. We want to get a blueprint attached to these guys because these guys are just a mesh. Like if I just drag this guy in there, he doesn't do anything. There's no code or blueprints attached to him. He's just a mesh like any other mesh. He's as good as this cube. He's just a better looking box. I know people in real life that are just basically that, a mesh, no blueprints. Okay, so yeah, I'm just getting my own jokes now. What are we doing? Get back on track. Come on, Cam. Okay, so let's set the skeleton up. We want to set this skeleton up for retargeting. So this is, I talked about it earlier. This is the retargeting manager. You've got your skeleton tree that just basically lists out every single bone in this dude's body. See, if I click on one, it's got these little orange bones that tie to a piece of his body. And then you got this retargeting manager that basically says, take all of this animation and it works on the skeleton this way and put it on this other skeleton. So it's retargeting from one skeleton to another. So there's a couple things you need to do. You need to make sure that there's a preview mesh attached. This one is, and it's good. Sometimes this is a little bit finicky. I don't know why they do that, but sometimes there's a button here and you have to actually like say, use this animation. In our case, it's fine. Later we'll want to make sure that a preview mesh, no, actually not later. Yeah, we'll want to make sure this RP, and good thing we named it, because how else would we find it? If you can't find it, you can use RP underscore UE4. This is our preview mesh. We'll want that turned on. I'll reference it later, but when we're actually retargeting, this will be the little mesh that shows up in the window. So we want to make sure those 2 things are on. If it's not there, then it won't show up. Okay, so those are selected, so we know that there's a preview. We know he's in the A pose. That's good. So another thing to think of when you're retargeting the skeletons, they have to be in the same pose. So if I was going to retarget animations for this hand, I want to make sure that it is, maybe hand's not best because they're opposite. But if I want to retarget from one skeleton to the other, they have to be in the exact same pose so that the system doesn't get confused. Okay, we'll need to add new here. Oh, yeah. And put the RP mannequin. So that is the mesh that's going to be targeted. And then we want to make sure that this is humanoid rig and this is auto mapped. You can go through, I'm pretty confident that these are all right, but you can go through, and these are all the different bones that I pointed out in the skeleton tree, and make sure that they're lined up appropriately. This really comes into play when you have a different skeleton. We know in our case we're going from Unreal to Unreal, so these are going to line up. But if you had a Mixamo skeleton and you wanted to try and retarget, or you had your own custom skeleton, you could line these up that way. There's also an advanced tab here where it goes into some of the smaller joints and down to the fingers and things like that. Anyways, we're lucky this is all mapped out for us. I don't think that there's anything that we have to do there. So we'll just save and go away. What is next? So we have to pick, no, let's retarget to the base skeleton. Let's do that now. We won't pick our dude just yet. So yeah, we want to go into the retargeting, but we have to have animations to retarget. Well, what are the animations that we want to retarget? Well, right now, if I went to Eric, which is the guy that we're going to use, and I went into his mesh, and I went into preview animation, he has some pretty sick animations. Like, look at that. When you're doing your next dungeon crawler, how badly do you want that animation? What else has this bad boy got? Look at how he walks. Fancy. Oh, strike a pose, homie. Anyways, so he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 animations. Clearly, those aren't. Clearly, those aren't the animations we're looking for. They're pretty awesome, though. I'm gonna find a way to use some of those. Those aren't the animations that we want. So we want to get some of the standard Unreal animations onto this dude, and we want to get specifically the sit and stand animation. So we could, in our base project, go to our mannequin and look at animations, and you'll see here's all the standard animations. So when we start the level and the guy's walking around, those are the animations that are being used, right? These 6, right? You'll see the jump, you'll see the run, you'll see the walk, blah, 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 blah. And those are all on his animation blend space blueprint, right? So this is what I was telling you before. If we went into so down on the bottom left, we went into the default animation graph, look, you've got all the blend space objects, but you're missing sit, right? So we could retarget this onto our, we could retarget from this skeleton in this mannequin onto our Scan 3D People Pack skeleton, but then we'd be missing the sit and stand stuff. And lucky enough, in our other project, so if you flip back to your chair and stamina project, and you look at, I believe it's the mannequin and animations, this blueprint that we want with the extra sit functionality also has all of these animations. So cool. So what we actually want to do is get this over to our new project, and then we want to retarget that skeleton, and then we want to set that dude up. We want to set Eric up to be our primary character. So that's what we're just going to do here now. This is really the meat, and this is where you're going to be like, Jesus, Cam, you could have friggin' done this in 5 minutes. That's not how I work, man. Okay, so what do we want to bring over? We want to bring over this stuff, and we want to bring over the animations. We want to bring over the third-person animations because it's their sitting, standing. We want to bring over these blueprints, all the ones that I covered before, and we want to bring over maybe this chair. I don't know if it's standard, but that's it. So really just those 4 folders. But before we do that, we want to rename a few things. So if we just sent these over, remember in our other project, they also have a third-person animation blueprint. So again, it's going to get confusing if we don't rename these. So because our demo is sit and stand, I'm going to denote an SS as a prefix to all of these things, just so that we're clear on what's what. So let's rename these. So at the beginning, put SS underscore on each one of these assets. SS underscore rename. SS underscore. I get it, it's a little bit tedious, but it's just going to save you headaches. Just trust me on this. Especially when we get into the Mixamo workflow, you'll see why I'm being so anal. It's just, when you're a one-man coder or one-woman coder, Um, if you're not organized, you're so easy to get lost in this crap. Okay. Especially if everything's named the same. So Unreal would recognize that some of the assets are different, even though they have the same name. But then when you're going and searching for them, and remember when we were clicking on the drop-down menu? Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. You got all those assets to pick from. Imagine if they're all named the same, or maybe it's the same and like _1. Like, what the fuck? Right? Okay, so those are renamed. I don't think that we have to rename. Do we have to rename anything else? This will be new. There. Here, let's rename this dude. SS _. This guy we're not bringing over. Why is this not saved? Compile. Save. You, sir. Compile, save. Okay. That stuff is all new. If the chair is already there, then we're going to say no to it. These are all going to be new. I'm not going to name these different because they're going to be unique. They're not standard. And I think we're good. So let's go ahead and select all these things. That animation folder. Whoop. Control. Control, click. Control, click. Control, click. Okay. So these are all the bad boys that we want. I am going to go through and make sure we have all the ones we want and leave the ones that we don't want. So we just don't want that guy because we'll have our own controller and there's nothing new in there. That's why I'm not bringing it over. That game controller doesn't have any new sit and stand functionality, so we can just manipulate our existing game controller. All this other shit is new though. So let's go ahead and right click, asset actions, and migrate. So this is going to say save all that crap. Sure, let's save it. This is, export all of the stuff that you have in the structure. So we are going to say yes. And then we're going to go and find our sit and stand demo. And we're going to go to the content folder. It knew where I wanted to go. Look at that. Cool. We're going to select that content folder. So you're going to navigate to sit and stand demo. You're going to go to the content folder in sit and stand demo, and you're going to select that folder. And it's going to tell you that it's going to, what is this? Third person blueprints, third person character. Why is that? Let's try an asset at the sit and stand demo already has a third person blueprint. We did rename it, right? Third person character. Yeah, we did put SS. Yeah, we're gonna hit no and just see what happens. SK. Yeah, let's just hit no to all and see what happens. Okay, no to all is the answer. Let's just go with that and see. I can't remember what I did last time. So ideally, we're done with this project. If that didn't just happen, I would have just said, yeah, cool, we're done with this project, close out, because we moved everything over. But I'm going to leave it open in case this import didn't go well. So let's just see what happened. Did we get new crap? Yes, we got new SSSSSS. And see, that's why, look at that. That's why we renamed them. You've got all this shit that's the same. So how the hell would you be able to tell the difference between the two, right? Cool. The other thing is we want to make sure that all that sit and stand crap came over. So in the third person meshes, no. Third person blueprint, animations, yes. We got our sit and stand. We got our blueprints, SS, look at that. See, different. Now we know which one's which because we named it. And then the chair's over here. So we should have everything. And we could probably close down that other file. Now the fun begins. We start retargeting onto the new one. So we, again, want to go into Scan 3D People Pack. We want to go to RP Character. We want to go to RP Master. We want to go to Mannequin. And then this skeleton, we are going to hopefully target from this guy. So in our mannequin, which is our default UE4, we have these animations. All of these animations are tied to this blend space blueprint. So really all that we need to target over is this guy. So I'm going to right click on him. I'm going to go to retarget animation blueprints, and we're going to see if this is already working. So if it was working, you would be able to see a target here, and we don't see any targets. So that means that something's not lined up. And remember I was telling you about the preview meshes? This is where the preview meshes showed up. So first things first is we don't have any targets. So it probably means that we don't have the initial skeleton set up to even target. So let's take a look at that. I'm gonna stop recording. I'm gonna do a bit of troubleshooting, and then I'll come back with a clear message so I don't waste your time. I'm back. I think I found it right away. 2 clicks later, I think I found it. Okay, so yeah, we're trying to send, if you think about it, we're trying to send animations from the standard Unreal asset, because in our stamina and chair demo, it was just using all of the base skeleton assets, right? And they had some additional animations that they built on top of that. So we migrated that in here, but it's still using the same skeleton asset. So just as a reminder, we've got a couple of skeletons going on. We've got our standard mannequin, the UE4 skeleton, and then we've got this new skeleton that we brought in from the scanned 3D People Pack. So we did some work to set up this scanned 3D People Pack skeleton, but we haven't yet set up this skeleton for the retargeting process. So that's what we're doing. So in the actual mesh of the mannequin, and again, this is why we name things, we want to open up the skeleton, and we want to make sure that they're ready to go. So it's going to be a bit of the same process. Is there a preview mesh? Is there a preview mesh? The 2 choices you have are the male and the female. We're using the male, so we're going to stay selected on that. I guess that's selected. We don't need to add new because we've already got him here. We need to select a rig. It has to be humanoid, and this is actually the big piece that was missing, is when you're retargeting, it's looking for like rigs. It couldn't find a like rig because we didn't have this selected as humanoid. We're going to hit auto map, and you did see there was some changes there, so that's good. And like I said, the Unreal ones will work because they are Unreal, and we should be good. So let's save that and see if that fixed our problem. So now when we go back to the animations that are tied to that skeleton, we should just be able to go Asset Actions, Retarget Animation Blueprints. I'll just go back here. Right click on this, Retarget Animation Blueprints, Duplicate Animation Blueprints and Retarget. And now you'll see we have an option. So we are going to target the RP mannequin. So good thing we named it, right? So we know that this asset is tied to our base mannequin, and now we're going to point it at the RP mannequin. Look, preview meshes there. They all look nice. That's why I spent that time making sure that the preview meshes were there, because sometimes they won't be there and then it screws up. Okay, cool. So now what this is going to do is it's going to take everything that's attached to this sit and stand animation blueprint, and it's going to retarget it onto that other skeleton. So I want to do the same thing and make sure that our naming conventions are set up. So I want to replace this SS with RP, right? Because I'm going to take all these, it's going to duplicate them over on the RP asset, so we want them named different. So let's replace SS underscore with RP underscore, right? This is the from asset, the to asset, source, target. And then we're also going to want to change where these get saved to. We don't want them all saved in the same folder. So we want these saved in with our RP assets, which are in the Scan People pack. Scan 3D People pack. It's like a tongue twister. So here's the RP character, and here's the animations. These are all animations, so I want to put them in the animations. So let's do that, and hit retarget. Voila! It happened! It's happening! So if you look here, in the Scan 3D People pack, under RP character and animations, you had these initial 5 or 6 animations, but now you have a whole whack more. So just like that, watch this. If I now go to our very refined man, Eric, and look at his animations, he has a whole whack of animations. Look at that. He's jumping. He's walking normal. He doesn't have, look at this. He went from, where's his initial walk? He went from stick up the butt to, look at that. I'm a man on a mission. Look at that, just from our little retargeting. That's all you gotta do, retarget. Okay, cool. So now all those meshes are there. So we've completed that retargeting process. He now technically could sit and stand. Maybe I'll show you that because that's what we're doing here, right? If we went to the, where's the sit and stand? Down here, hey, why don't we search? Search, sit, sitting idle. Oh, he's sitting, cool. And then, yeah, that's it. Cool, he's jumping. Cool. Okay, cool. And then the other thing you'll notice too is like not to just keep harping the same thing, but I'm harping the same thing. You notice because we put that replace, all of these are named different, so we're not going to get confused. I don't know what's going on with this guy, but maybe we rename him RP. Why did he get away with it? Maybe there wasn't anything to replace. Anyways, cool. So now those are all named that way. Going back to our dude Eric, we need to do a couple other things. So this is no good. He's still just a mesh if we dropped him in. Eric, you're a mesh. You're just a mesh, man. So we want to now duplicate some of the other things that are going on with our standard third-person character. So what makes him the third-person character that we use and runs around and all that kind of crap? It's these blueprints. So we want to copy one of these blueprints. Well, which blueprint do we want to copy? We want to copy the one that we renamed the sit and stand one. We don't want this because it doesn't have any of the sit and stand functionality, right? No. This guy has it all. So this is the blueprint that we want. We want all of that code brought over to our man Eric. So we are going to duplicate it. And we're going to be careful with our naming. We're going to call it RP, and we'll call it Eric, third person, and we'll get rid of the character part, just because that way it keeps it from being too long. And now we have SS third person character, but now we've got RP Eric third person. So let's take that and move that in with our dude, Eric. Where is he? This one. Remember, it's this, not the mobile one, it's this other one. Move here. Boom. There we go. So now we got this blueprint. Now we've got to change it so that it's referencing this dude. So let's go in there. We don't have to do anything with the code. It's all there. Woohoo! But what we did is got to get rid of this. So we don't want our mannequin anymore. We want Eric. So type in Eric and pick the mesh. Cool. Save, compile. We now have a third person character, Eric. So now, how do we tell Unreal that that's the third character that we want to use in our level? Well, that's where we go. Oh man, this is a lot of stuff. That's where we go. I hope you're staying with me. This is where we go to this third person blueprint. And in these blueprints, this is this third person game mode. So in third person game mode, right now it's telling us the default pawn class is third person character. Well, we know that's not true anymore. It is now RP Eric third person. Again, good thing we named it. The save and compile is over on the left here. So, sorry, compile, save. Compile, save. I always save, compile. That's the wrong order. Compile, save. There you go. Now it's telling our game, brr, that didn't work. Is that because this dude is here? What the hell? Ah, there we go. I guess we had a dude in the level. There, we've got Eric. And look, that's exactly what you're looking for, right? This floating guy. I don't see much difference between his original animation. No, don't freak out. And notice I'm not freaking out because I've already done that 10 times and freaked out off camera. So you don't have to. That's expected. I'm actually happy with that result. And I'll show you why. We go in here and we haven't told him what animations to use. So we've put the mesh in there, but there's this little, there's this box when we click on him that says use animation blueprint. Well, would you look at that? Didn't we just retarget an animation blueprint? Yes, we did. So you go in here in animation class, and guess what you're going to type in? RP. And guess what we're going to use? RP third person animation blueprint. Good thing we put RP in there so that we could find this, because when you click on this, like, how the hell do you know what you're looking for? Cool. RP is what we're looking for. Boom. He's moving. He's moving. That's exciting. Compile and save. Compile and save. Cool. Well, now it happens. Bam. And here's the beauty. Here is the beauty. This is the really exciting portion. Because if we close out of our mannequin, we close out of our scan 3D people pack, we close out of our third person BP, and we go into our blueprints, we have this really cool chair BP. And we're going to do something real special for this grand reveal. We're going to drag this chair BP out. So I shrunk this block, because this now looks like it's a nice cool little sitting object. We're going to pull out this chair BP. We're going to slap that mofo in there, and then we are going to save, and we're going to press play. And what you're going to say is that when Cam presses E here, you're going to say, why is he not sitting? Well, that's what I'm going to say, because I thought he was going to sit. He's not, because we have to fix the blueprint. We're not done. We're not done. The blueprint is not done. He can't sit yet. He almost can sit. Almost. We're almost there. I knew I was going to fall on my face. Okay. Let's figure out why that is. What needs to be done with our man Eric here? In characters. No. Not in the mannequin. We're not dealing with a mannequin. We're dealing with Eric. With my main man Eric. In his blueprint. Well, why is he not sitting? We know that he should be sitting when we press E, but he... Ooh, I thought I knew it off the top of my head. I'm going to hit stop record and I'm going to come back. I'm going to figure it out and then I'm going to come back to you. Aha! I'm back. That was only 30 seconds, I swear. I swear. Only because I ran into the problem earlier today and it took me like half a minute, half an hour to figure out. I don't know. I can't remember. Anyways, it's actually in here. So it's because the chair BP is set up specific to a specific character type. So if we navigate back down to our third person BP, our chair BP, this is set up to cast to SS third person character. Well, that's not who we're using. SS third person character is this dude. We're now using, who's Eric using? He's using himself. He's using RP Eric third person. So we need the chair to match that, because that's what it's expecting, right? So let's go into the chair blueprint. Let's take this out. We'll just do one at a time so we don't lose it. Drag the node thingy dingy there, and we want to say cast to Is it RP? What does this say? Cast to SS third person character. Yeah, so we should be able to cast to Eric, cast to RP. Yeah. See, this is why we name things, right? Cast to RP underscore Eric third person. Is it class? Class character person. Third person character. Yeah, cool. And then you'll notice you can't drag this in. Reason being is this set variable was set off of this. So when you have, I'm just going to press Alt and click on this because that'll delete the connector. When you drag one of these out, you can build the variable right off of that. So what was this? Set sit or something? Yeah, set can sit. And the variable's built right off of that. So it's actually expecting this third person character. So if you try and reuse this, it's going to say, no, you're not SS whatever, right? See there. It's not compatible with SS third person character. So you actually have to go and delete that and put in a brand new one. Can sit, and this was set, can sit, and this was set to true. That little check is Boolean true, and then drag that back in, and this had the other actor into the object. So that's lined up how it used to be. Boom. Just like that. And then we need to do the same thing here. So we will go and do that. Cast to RP underscore Eric, third person. And then we will bring this in here. We will drag this off and hit set, can sit, boom. We will hit Alt and shut that down. And this we want to leave as false. And we want to drag Eric in there. And then we can now control click and get rid of those two. So there we go. Compile, save, and drum roll please. Did we do it? Oh, we did it. We did it. I think what we'll do is we'll end this video here now, and then what I'll do is I'll start a part 2. So you got your dude to interact with this. You can play around with this a little bit. I told you a couple of ways of, you can create some child blueprints and put in some meshes there to stick around. You can see. You will notice though, because there's a fix for this later, you will notice if you try and put multiple chairs, there's going to be some weird things happening. Like when you try and sit in the second chair, he jumps back and ends up sitting, like he flies through time and space and ends up sitting in the other chair. Maybe that's how you want it to work. I doubt it though. So we'll walk through how to fix that. This just sort of sets up the core functionality as it is, as Buddy gave it to us. But there's actually a fix. So I'll walk you through how to fix that so you can sit on multiple chairs. And then what we'll do is we'll do the same thing, but we'll go through the Mixamo flow so you can get a Mixamo character sitting on a chair. So we'll do that in part 2. I'm going to upload this today. It's Sunday night. And then I don't know when I'll get to part 2, maybe sometime this week or this weekend. But at least you've got the core functionality in the video for now, and then you can wait, a couple hours or a few days to get part 2, and then we'll see. Maybe there's a part 3 and part 4 depending on how many people are interacting with the video, if there's other things we want to do. But anyways, we'll shut it off for today. Thanks for sticking around with me. Let me know if there's things that I can do better. If you like that I'm going into the detail and explaining things, if that's helpful, let me know. If it's too much, if maybe I need to do a quick tutorial for the people that are ahead and get this sort of shit, great. And then then elaborate on later on. I can change things up. But let me know. I try and keep it a little bit light and fun because it is long and dry otherwise. And yeah, if you followed along step by step and you're having some problems, throw stuff in the comments. I'll try and help you out. I'm gonna be honest. Reading a lot of the comments, there's people that give no detail, and they're like, hey, I'm trying to do this and it's just not working, tell me why. And it's like, dude, we just covered an hour worth of crap, and that's with me knowing how to do it, right? I don't know what the hell you did, how long it took you and what you did you follow step by step. So number one, put in some details. try and follow step by step. Go back through the video, see if you missed anything small. But I'll do my best to help you out, but I can't make any promises. So cool. Thanks for sticking around. See you.